Alright, so the boys are cruising. We got Shaw.
What's up, man?
And we're going en route to go find one of the cool local forts, and we're cruising in his M3. We got an E46. And Shaw, what year? When'd you get this thing?
This is an 04. I bought it in 2012, so it'll be 10 years. I'll be 11 years with it next March.
Fantastic.
Next May, I should say. Yeah, so I've had it for a while.
Nice. And like, what are some of the highlights that you've done? I mean, I know that there's a lot.
Long time, man.
There's a lot, but like, you know, engine-wise, I guess we could start off first.
So the engine is a, it's still an S54, it's still a 3.2, still stock compression ratio. It's a built head, full Super Tech valve train, shrink cams, they're 288, 280, shrink cams, shrink DLC, coated, pretty much everything. Rebuilt Vanos. This car is originally a Dynan S2 car, so it has some of the Dynan parts left. Most of the stuff I've taken off over the years. It's got a Goki carbon CSL airbox. It's got Dynan ported throttle bodies. The exhaust is full Super Sprint step V1 headers, so 2.5-inch exhaust all the way, dual 2.5-inch pipes all the way back.
Beautiful.
To a custom titanium exhaust. It's finished off with some very nice HPF titanium exhaust tips.
Yes.
It's got a Diffs Online 3-clutch differential. It used to be a Dynan 391, but I kind of messed it up by doing some burnouts and stuff like that. So
Alright, fair
I'm
enough.
with it. I mean, that's kind of like the weird part about this car. I've kind of had this car from adolescence to adulthood.
Yep.
Effectively, right?
Yep.
So a lot of growing with the car. Stock 420G. This is a factory manual car.
Yep.
I bought this car back when E46s weren't expensive. Back when like pretty much everyone was dumping E46s for E92s.
Yes.
And I was like, nah, E46s all the way.
So that's the thing with these cars, right? Is Shaw and I used to work together. That's how we met. You know, starting in 2018, and I remember the conversation at that point where it was like, hey, look out for these certain values, and you know, a lot of cars weren't on the radar that are now just so unattainable in a certain price range, which is crazy. But like, what do you think about? That's a big question I wanted to ask you. Like, what do you think about the current hype there is for these cars? Like, what's it coming from? Is it like people feeling nostalgic about this time? Like, what's going on here?
I think what's happening is, you know, car manufacturers they're struggling. They're struggling to stay alive. You know, ICE is not happening anymore. You know, like if you can get a car with an internal combustion engine these days, it's kind of like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and I never thought in my lifetime that we'd ever be in this situation, but EVs are taking over. So basically anything that's moderately cool has an option for rear-wheel drive. A manual transmission is going to be worth money. I mean, Miatas used to be $2,000.
Right, yeah, true.
They're like
true.
10K now for like an NA or NB Miata, depending on, you know, how they're done up or what's done to them.
Yeah.
And another reason why is scarcity.
True.
Right?
True.
Like, you can't find cars now that haven't been messed with. Like, a lot of cars have had, you know, like 15 owners, and you don't know what's done to those cars. I bought this car from an original owner.
Mm-hmm.
He had it
that's
from
crazy.
day one. He had it from day one. So he was literally like, listen, like, I did some of the mods, and then I just continued on what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of worked out, but that's getting harder and harder to find nowadays.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, low mileage examples are going for such crazy money. Like, I'm seeing E46s go for like over 100K now, which is nuts. I don't think this is a 100K experience. I wholeheartedly will tell you that this experience, even with the way my car is set up, and I'm in this car for a good amount, I still think that the car, stock for stock, probably is about a 20-25K experience. If you're spending any more than that on the car, I mean, I'm thinking that you're gonna buy it as an investment, you know, just
Yes, yeah.
and that makes sense. I understand. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. But.
Yeah. So I think another big reason that these cars, we're seeing more of them, is like, as we get older, people now have jobs that these were their dream cars when they were kids. They're at the age that they can actually afford something like this now.
Yeah.
And they want the best example. They want that poster car of the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a nostalgic feel? Like, was when you were a kid, is this car you looked up to? Or like,
yeah,
what makes it your favorite platform?
Yeah, so this is, so when I was in the 6th grade, this car had just, well, this car was out for a little bit. It had been out for like a couple of years. And I was more into like Ferraris and stuff like that at the time, just as a kid, you know, playing Gran Turismo and whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a guy that I used to drive, I used to walk by his house going to and from school. He used to leave it outside. He had an 04 Laguna Seca Blue M3 with the matching Laguna Seca Blue interior with a 6-speed outside his house, like, you know, in nice weather.
Yeah.
And the car would be outside. I'd be looking for it because I was always into cars. So it was kind of that kind of like really like set that in my mind that like, hey, I really want this car. And I was, you know, 11 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird how like things work because, you know, I got this car when I was like 19.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not like that much time to get to that point.
Yeah.
To get the car, but in my mind, and like, of course, as life goes, there's a lot of stuff that happened in between that time, but I never forgot about that. I was like, and I still never forget about that, because that's why I was like obsessed with this car. And I had like posters of it. I used to get like, you know, car and driver magazines and stuff like that, so I still have that stuff. So, you know, there's a little bit of nostalgia, actually a lot of nostalgia. And to be honest with you, I think that out of all like the generations of M3s, new ones included, I think everyone really likes this generation. Not because of like the way it sounds, because I'm not a huge fan of the way it sounds, to be very honest. Even with the airbox, even with the exhaust, it's not my cup of tea. I have an M5 if I want to like make good noises. This car's fun to drive, and it's accessible. It's not like a 911 turbo where like you're redlining second gear and you're already like doing like, you know, triple-digit speeds or some nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's an approachable car. This one in particular, I don't foresee ever selling, because there's no point.
I was gonna ask that. Do you ever see?
No.
Okay.
Because there's no point in selling it, because a lot of the parts that are on this car are no longer available.
You have those authentic parts that the parts themselves could be nostalgic.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
like just like how many cars have CD players anymore?
No,
you know, like things like that. Like
I'll give you an example. You point down over here real quick.
Yep.
Like this boot and this e-brake boot and this armrest, right, came out of an extended cinnamon interior car. It's one of like very few in the country, and the guy had crashed the car and he started parting it out. And I was on a forum and I basically saw the parts for sale and I was like, I'll grab them, because I was like, whatever. Didn't think anything of it at the time. I was like, back in college,
yeah,
I've never seen another set come up for sale, ever.
crazy.
So that's what I mean. It's like, it's not that it's fast, it's not that it's cool, it's just that it's personalized to me.
Yes.
And that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I can never sell it, because I can never rebuild this.
Yes. Yeah.